Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the map of healing childhood trauma because so many of us feel stuck in survival mode, repeating old patterns without knowing why. And the benefit of understanding this map is that you finally have clarity on where you are now and where you want to go and the steps you need to take to get there. If you keep hitting the same roads, looping around and feeling lost in flashbacks or old patterns, it feels like being dropped in the middle of nowhere with no directions. You can't see the road ahead, and every turn feels wrong. That's where this healing map comes in. It's like a GPS that says you are here and here the safest route forward. And it guides you step by step from survival mode to a life where you feel safe, whole, and in control. When we begin our healing journey, we often find ourselves at square one. But we want to get to a certain point in our journey where we feel secure in our finances, creating healthy relationships, or it can be thriving in our career, owning our self-worth, or it can be about living in alignment with our true purpose. And for some people, it can be about forming a strong identity. But whenever you want to move towards these goals, you hit this wall of defense within yourself. It can be an overwhelming amount of fear that comes up, abandonment issues, guilt, loss of control, lots of grief or sadness. It can show up in a way that it can be all-consuming. But these blockages are deeply ingrained survival strategies that we developed in response to traumatic experiences during our childhood. They kept us safe from threats, from being punished, or our needs not being met. So they became part of our identity and behavioral patterns. These are not just situational responses. You are not reacting momentarily, and they are deeply rooted in your childhood. And it's not your fault when you're responding to your life events with so much fear or anxiety or depression. So whenever these triggers, these inner defenses shows up, such as fear, shame, guilt, anything, we resort to so many coping strategies such as perfectionism, people-pleasing, overworking, addictions, isolating yourself from everybody else, abandonment issues, ruminating over what happened in your childhood, anger issues. You might even resort to some self-harm behaviors, self-sabotage. You're constantly trying to destroy your life, and you may be having self-worth issues. And you keep resorting to stuff that cannot fill your void, no matter how much you try. You may be doing things in excess. Every time you try to move forward, you keep looping between your defenses and coping mechanisms. The more pain shows up, the more flashback happens, the more we want to escape into these addictions, and the cycle never ends. We loop, and we lose track of our future. We lose so much hope, and we endlessly circle, not knowing how to move forward. We keep fighting these inner battles with our thoughts, our emotions, and memories. So how do we move forward then if we are so stuck in this negative loop? Should we apply brute force? Should we hate ourselves that we cannot move past things? No, we should not do that. We cannot destroy ourselves to move forward. And we certainly cannot shame ourselves for looping through these things. Because it's not about perfection, it's about validating what you have gone through with so much kindness and self-compassion. Self-hate is not how you cope anymore. So you have to be much more gentle with yourself while you're trying to overcome these things. What you have gone through with so much kindness and self-compassion. Self-hate is not how you cope anymore. So you have to be much more gentle with yourself while you're trying to overcome these things. So when we experience trauma, we separate from our emotions, our sensations, our thoughts. We are so split off from the awareness of our trauma because it was unbearable to experience that. We do that in order to survive that traumatic event. In our lifetime, we have experienced so many traumatic events, and these forgotten traumatic events will resurface in the form of flashbacks to be integrated into your conscious awareness. But to fight against these sudden upheavals, we resort to these avoidant strategies, these addictions to numb the pain of the original traumatic event. We want to avoid, reject, and deny the fact that we have been through such traumatic events. And there are some drawbacks for being split off from the awareness of what happened to us. We will not know our life story. If we are trying to forget, we will develop addictions to numb the pain. Most importantly, we lose touch with who we are as a person. To integrate means we become aware of what happened to us and fully own our story and ourselves. It's the opposite of rejecting ourselves. It generates self-love naturally for people who struggle with self-hate or self-destructive behaviors. I would usually suggest to sit with the sensations itself, because most of the time the trauma manifests itself through physical sensations. These symptomology oftentimes have deep-rooted childhood experiences, and when you sit with them without rushing it, without pushing them to go away, when you truly pay attention to what's going on in your body, it will trace you back to your emotions that you're trying to repress. And do not rush the process. It's all about being patient with your body and listening to it as much as possible. If you are being shown certain childhood memories behind those sensations, you can sit with those memories as well, as long as you're connecting with your body in a loving way. Do not think about time. But if certain resistance show up in your body, it's okay to resist your own healing. It's not your fault that you're acting against your own mind. You can try and understand your resistance fully, thought by thought. Because if you resist your resistance to moving forward in your life, you can tell yourself that I am supposed to heal and feel better, but trauma is much more powerful. Because when the abuse happened, when these traumatic situations happened, my body did not feel safe. So my body adapted a strategy that kept me safer for as long as it did. It had a very good reason to protect me from what happened. So all I'm trying to do is resist, and that's okay. Resistance is okay. This journey is not about perfection. It's about self-validation, self-compassion, and empathy. The more you try to push it away, more you tell yourself that you are weak, that you cannot handle the situation, that you just get over it. That's not how you overcome what's going on, because the trauma keeps showing up. Some people do remember every detail of what happened, but the focus is on ruminating but not becoming aware of their inner reality. They were so unaware of how they were feeling at the moment and how it is impacting their body and what they needed in the moment. So the more self-compassion that you give yourself, the more empathy that you have for yourself, you will be able to overcome this. So one of the ways that you can surrender is through body scan meditation. The more you stay with your sensations, the more you try to understand them, the more you become aware of your past patterns. The more you face yourself, the more you face your patterns, the more control you have over yourself. Because pushing them away is only making you lose control over yourself. So the more you face them, the more you unpack them through journaling, through body scan, through watching videos like this, can help you uncover a lot of stuff. So there are many ways to show compassion to yourself, to show empathy towards yourself. That is by doing the inner child work. Writing letters to yourself and being much more compassionate to them. The more you stop hating yourself, the more you try to meet those needs that you couldn't be able to meet as a kid, the more you will feel better. And you can write shameless thoughts. What does that mean? Shameless thoughts simply mean that even though it may feel so unacceptable to do certain things, such as doing all of this work may feel like so ashamed. To unpack means facing a lot of shame, and shame means not being able to accept certain things as real. And the more we deny stuff out of this shame, the more we could not own up to the parts that are so disintegrated within ourselves. The shameless thoughts are about owning who we are, owning our thoughts, even though they may feel like they are not valid. And you can write letters from your future self, from where you want to be. What would that part of you say about your current situation? You can write letters to yourself there. And how do you cope in a healthy way without resorting to all of these addictions? You can start doing self-care practices, telling yourself affirmations every single day. You can really commit to this, and meeting your physical needs and doing positive body scan. So what do I mean by positive body scan? It just means that you expand your capacity to feel safe and to feel positive. Most of the time, if we spend our life experiencing a lot of negative situations, we find so much comfort in feeling negative thoughts, negative emotions, and having negative beliefs. So previously I talked about body scan meditation, where you sit with your sensations and focus on what's going on, right? But when you do positive body scan, there are certain emotions, there are certain sensations that you can sit with that can help you feel love, happiness, joy towards yourself and care towards yourself. And even though it feels so uncomfortable, you can sit with that, and you can try doing this for a minute or two, but eventually you need to sit with it for as long as possible and make it a challenge for you to truly sit with them and expanding your capacity to feel safe when you feel a certain way. And in the next step forward, you can start developing healthy defense mechanisms. And how do you do that? It's learning how to set up healthy boundaries, trusting your instincts, and knowing different types of people, and knowing your worth and value, knowing what you want and need, building a belief system, building a new worldview around you, and educating yourself on a lot of things, such as how trauma operates within you and how it impacts ways that you become vulnerable to certain things in your environment, such as toxic people, toxic bosses, toxic relationships, and basically preventing yourself from engaging with in the toxicity of life in general. This can even mean toxic habits, because growing up with abusers or people who basically traumatized you, we don't know how to judge what is good for us. We often feel attracted to people that are going to do us more damage, and that's not gonna help. And learning to know your worth and value means that you won't be engaging in cultivating more toxicity in your life. You don't support it, because the more you know what's good for you, the more you prevent yourself from going towards habits, people, or situations that are against you. If you are dealing with somebody in your life that is negative, that is destructive towards you, then you don't know your worth, you don't know your value. And oftentimes you have gotten used to it, and you could not set up your boundaries with them because you're so used to it, because you think that that's what's good for you, but it's not. And if you are resisting letting go of this, I'll be making a new video on this. Like, if you're so stuck in holding on to people like this, or situations like this, or habits like this, I'll be making a new video about this. So up until now, I'm talking about processing and staying with your thoughts and sensations and emotions. But now the next step is about taking actions, that are outside of your comfort zone to break patterns of abuse and trauma. This part is about taking action and emerging out of these stuck patterns within you. The more you crack your shell wide open, these negative defenses that you have built, the more you emerge out of it like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon, the more you take action every single day through consistency, through commitment, the more you're going to be the person that you want to be. And the more you engage in this positive loop here in this area, the more you can become the person that you want to be. Even though this map shows that this healing journey can be linear, but it's not. In real life, this can be zigzag, right? You can be at anywhere, at any point in your life, and that's okay. Because the emphasis is more on self-compassion and empathy instead of perfection. You cannot beat yourself up for going through what you've gone through, and the goal is to not feel perfect all the time, but increasing this capacity and building this muscle to self-validate and to build that self-compassion, build that muscle of empathy towards yourself and self-validation. The more you feel valid about who you are and what you're going through emotionally at any given moment, that's enough. It's not about perfection. I repeat, it's not about perfection. You cannot criticize yourself. You can only acknowledge what you're going through and what you're feeling at any given moment. And this map is a helpful reminder that there is always a way forward, even though you're stuck in these negative thoughts. If you want to see more content like this, do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon. If this video resonates with you, you can share about it in the comments. And I want to know how you're feeling about your healing journey. And if you have any coping mechanisms, these trauma adaptations that you're currently dealing with, you can comment down about that as well. And if you want to reach out to me, you can send me a text on Facebook. I'm offering for one-on-one coaching sessions. I'll be offering 12-week coaching programs. In this 12-week journey, we will go step by step, creating safety and stabilize our nervous system. We process and release the stuck emotions and build healthy habits and boundaries so you can start to thrive. I can walk with you step by step if you're tired of looping through the same patterns of fight or flight, perfectionism, self-doubt, self-worth issues, PTSD flashbacks, depression, anxiety, abandonment issues, addiction problems, self-hate, self-destructive behaviors. So do send me a text on Facebook. I will reach out to you.